Joining us now, Shadow Attorney-General and Member for Fisher, Andrew Wallace. Andrew, thanks for joining us on the program. When you hear, when you got John Howard telling you to get your act together, you should listen, shouldn't you?
Well, of course, we always listen to our former leaders, and in particular the great man John Howard, Australia's second longest serving Prime Minister. When he talks, we should listen. But at the end of the day, look, we've got to get the coalition back together. We are better, we're stronger together. This is a hopeless government, a hopeless Albanese government. And the best way to be able to hold them to account is if we do reform the coalition. I'm a coalitionist, as are many of my colleagues. There may be some people who think that a time apart might be a good thing, but look, at the end of the day, it's not as though we're blessed with so many numbers in the House of Representatives, Steve. We need to have all of our people on the park and taking the fight up to Labor. And the best way to do that is through a coalition.
Andrew, I watched Question Time all this week, and what really depressed me about it was the government is now so full of hubris. They're treating your side of politics like a joke. So they get up to answer questions and someone's written a clever line for each of the ministers to have a whack about the coalition and getting the band back together and all that sort of rubbish. It means that you're not able to hold them to account honestly, I think. They're getting away with so much that the public need fixed.
Yeah, look, Steve, I agree with you to some point. I mean, the reality is that Anthony Albanese, Tony Burke and co, since they won the election in 2022, have always had that hubristic approach, that holier-than-thou approach, that really just continues to mock anybody who has a different view to them. That's their style, so this is not a new thing. I think if you go back and look at how they've conducted themselves in Question Time over the years, over the last 4 years, you'd agree with me on that. So I don't think this is new, but certainly the hubris is increasing. Look, the reality, of course, Steve, is that we've got to get the coalition back together. I'm doing everything I can. I'm talking to my friends in the National Party. I've spent the last couple of days talking with them. I think there's good intention, there's good faith on both sides to try and make this work, because we all know that at the end of the day, we can't win an election when we're on our own in either the Liberal Party or the National Party, and that we need to get it back together. If we don't get the show back on the road... Look, the stumbling block is the issue of the reinstatement of the three National Party shadow cabinet senators that effectively broke shadow cabinet solidarity. They acknowledged that in their resignation letters. This is a breach of centuries of Westminster Convention. You know, you run an opposition in the same way that you want to run government, and you can't just break from centuries-old convention that says that the decisions of the shadow cabinet or the cabinet are binding on all of those members. If you can't agree to the outcome of those discussions that you have in cabinet or shadow cabinet, then as a member of that group, you have to resign. That's the reality of it. Just like Julian Leeser did on The Voice. He did the right thing. He effectively sat out of shadow cabinet for 18 months. Susan Lee was offering the three senators 6 months. This hopefully cooler heads should prevail, and we should get down to a matter of negotiation. Hopefully the Nats will... The ball is in their court. I know that they met as a party room this afternoon. They need to be able to come back to the Liberal Party and say, well, all right, we accept X, whatever that is, and we can... There needs to be some degree, some form of sanction for breaching shadow cabinet solidarity. Otherwise, they wouldn't have resigned. They knew that they'd done the wrong thing, and they needed to resign. They did that. Susan Lee accepted their resignation. If you don't have some form of sanction, then everybody in shadow cabinet would just go off and do their own thing, and clearly that is untenable.
Well, those three obviously made it clear they're not going to do that. But look, while this is all going on, of course, you've got the resurgence of One Nation, which you know only too well. How worried are you about what One Nation numbers are looking like? And you even had Pauline Hanson telling Chris Kenny last night that she would contemplate going to some sort of coalition arrangement with the Nats and the Liberal Party. I mean, in your area, are you feeling a One Nation explosion of support?
Well, I wouldn't call it an explosion of support. I think that people are very angry with Anthony Albanese. They understand instinctively that their quality of life, their standard of living has dropped immeasurably under this government. They feel like they're being punched down by their government that is supposed to be there to support them. I've got people who are calling me, emailing me, saying that they're now having to work 2, 3 more jobs just to be able to pay the mortgage, pay the rent, pay their outrageous energy bills. And they're getting tired, they're getting angry, so they're angry at them. And look, understandably, they're also angry at us. As a former coalition, they're angry at us because we're seen to be no longer holding the government's feet to the fire. That's a perception. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, I am doing everything I can as are my colleagues in the Liberal Party. Well, it
looks like it's a reality.
It is a reality.
I mean,
It is a reality, Steve, that we are continuing to keep the government's feet to the fire. We've got to do that because Australians are hurting. They want... You can't have a good government without good opposition.
Very true. That's a very true word. Andrew Wallace, thank you very much for joining us.
Authorised by Andrew Wallace, LNP, Boccarina, Queensland.